Karen, welcome to the Author U community. Tell us about your background just a little bit, and then how you work specifically with authors.
Hi, Judith. It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So my background is I've been involved in publishing for about 30 years. I started off as a senior publicist at Bantam Books, and then moved on to the Free Press division, where I started the publicity department, and then grew into director of marketing, where I worked on author campaigns for publicity, advertising, promotion, and cover design. And stayed there for a number of years, and then went to Crown Publishing as sales manager to work with, I had a sales force reporting to me, and we sold big retailers like Barnes & Noble and the former Borders, may it rest in peace, and all of the major wholesalers and retailers in the country. So my whole background in publishing, at the big guys, if you will, was in sales and marketing. And then I was in mainstream publishing for about 10 years and decided what I really wanted to do was work with independent publishing companies and do the same thing, applied what I have learned in sales and marketing, and work with independent publishers to help build their sales and enhance their marketing strategies. So I did that. I've started my company, Strauss Consultants. It's been around for 20 years. And then, with the advent of self-publishing, print-on-demand, entrepreneurial publishing, a number of years ago, I started working with self-publishing authors, developing the same kinds of things where they come to me with a manuscript and they're kind of not quite sure what to do with it. So we have long talks about who their organic audience is. And then we talk about how do we reach that particular readership. And
Let's define what an organic audience
Sure.
is. I think that's an important thing to.
Okay.
We're not going to the grocery store looking under our foods to say organic. So
and it's not necessarily more expensive because it's organic.
exactly.
So, and that's a very good question. I define organic as who is your core audience. So if you've written, I've worked on a campaign, for instance, on a novel, and the novel is called Dogs Have Angels Too. And it is about a woman who loses her job, but she's very active in animal rights. And she volunteers at a kill shelter in New York City. So in fiction, you take the nonfiction angle. And then, and because the author is herself an animal rights activist, the natural places to go and to work with are pet stores, pet grooming supply stores, and salons for pets. And she lives in New York City, and now she's moved to LA. So the two key locations that we have been working on are New York and LA. So we set up book signing events at Petco, and other dog grooming spas that want to have her for an event. So she also has an audience in the sense of she knows a lot of people, so we sent out invitations to 300 people who personally know her through a blog or through newsletters that she's been writing.
Perfect. Okay, so in your experience, and because what's great is you come from two sides, where you were big with traditional publishers and really understand the publicity and creating the hooks and the pitches
Right.
and that kind of thing, but also the necessity, I think, of having a quality product and doing it, and also with your story about the woman who, with her expertise, and her book, which was fiction, but really you can market a fiction
Yes.
book just fine in the nonfiction markets. So what are the, if you were in a summary in our last 2 minutes here, what are the top 2 mistakes you see authors make? And can you give us just a couple, like, here's what I would do if I was coming out of the gate, 1, 2, and 3.
In 2 minutes.
In 2
Okay.
minutes, you get it.
We'll try that.
Oh, come on, you're from New York, you can do it fast.
Still do it very fast. The number one mistake I see with authors is they feel that they're trying to be all things to all people.
Yeah.
And when they make it too generic, then you speak to no one. So what you need to do is really narrow your focus and start with a very specific niche of people that you know will be interested in what you're writing. And then what was the other, and how would I go about?
So the mistake is one, they don't niche yourself. They try to be all to everybody, and it's always a mistake.
Right.
And so if you had a new author coming into your door, what would be maybe the top 3 things you would say, this is what you need to do, point A, point B, point C, and let's say they haven't really written their book yet. They're in the thought
Basically,
process.
I point out the who, what, when, where, and why. So who is it that you're really trying to speak to? What is it you've actually written about? And try and summarize your book in 2 sentences, I should say. When I go to present a book to the buyer at Barnes & Noble, I have 30 seconds to present a book. So you need to be crystal clear about what your message is. And then, well, when did you write it is not that important, but you do, an author came to me and said, oh, I just published my book, and I did the copyright in 2011, and I really won't be ready till 2012, and by the time I'm ready to promote it, it's going to feel old. So you now have to think about certain things like that, about when you're actually going to be ready to promote it. And then why did you write it is very important, because you must be excited about it. Write what you're passionate about, and then your spirit will shine through, and you'll convince and persuade other people that they need this book too.
So it's from the heart.
It is from the
What
heart, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Karen, how do people find you?
Great, thank you. You can write to me at kbstrauss, Strauss, at straussconsultants.com, or you can call my office at 212-913-9814, and the web is www.straussconsultants.com.
Thank you so much for joining the Author U group today.
Thank you, Judith. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.